Well, it is all over for the grifters of Oz. So long, farewell, Meghan, or just call me Meg, as she apparently likes to go by, and her spare handbag, Harry, have finally left Australia after a whirlwind circus.
It's absolutely empty, the background, devoid of people, and they have these shots that is the back of this guy for several seconds. Why? Because they have nothing.
I spent all my life investing in women. Can I finally invest in me?
Oh, you bitch! Oh, God!
Is that not the worst thing she has ever said?
Oh, God! She must not ever read the paper or go online.
Video comparison between 2018 and 2026. And here you can see the big difference between the two. You have actual crowds, you had actual expectation, people. There was a lot of energy back then that is undeniable compared to what is this?
47 people actually said yes out loud. Just 47, not 4,000, not even 447. Out of the entire country of Australia.
Charlotte Griffiths, Miss G-String, Prince Harry's little bit on the side, all of a sudden is starting to drop truth bombs. Do you think it is because we've now all read the messages and we do have the proof?
Only 47 people thought dropping $3,000 for a weekend with the Duchess of Sussex made sense. And even that number feels a little generous. Because when those photos slipped out, and they always do, the scene told a different story.
Even so, it's Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex. How could Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, drive this small a crowd?
Harry's face is like, wait, hang on, where? Where is everyone gone? Why am I not loved? Meghan probably thought the same. This has got to be the scam of the century. Attendees fooled into paying big bucks for a weekend with Meghan. I'd be calling for a refund.
That's why we're going to have the restraining order. We don't want you and your constant dramas and your constant messy revenge moves anywhere near our British royal family.
Tables sitting untouched in the back, glasses still flipped upside down, napkins folded like a restaurant waiting for guests who never showed up. This was hyped up as the big comeback, the moment Harry and Meghan would step back into the spotlight and remind everyone why they matter. But instead of cheers or even backlash, Australia delivered something way colder. Pure silence. Now rewind to where it really fell apart, the Her Best Life retreat. Yes, that was the actual name.
Yeah, you see nobody in there. Nobody's there for the oracles. There are a few really cringe moments.
Markle's buying into this one-off where they immediately made anything she wore anywhere available to purchase as soon as she appeared. She's invested in it, and she's posting all her outfits.
Grifting is one thing, but carrying out a faux royal visit to a children's hospital while flogging your outfits online appears to have crossed a line.
Set at the Intercontinental Coogee Beach in Sydney, 5-star luxury, ocean views, all the glam you could imagine. Prices kicked off at $2,699. And the top package climbed past $3,200. What were people promised? An intimate, immersive, life-changing weekend with Meghan, Duchess of Sussex. A chance to connect, feel inspired, and walk away transformed. For $3,000. But what did they really get? Meghan showed up at 5 p.m., sat down for a Q&A on stage, and just 2 hours later she was gone.
A little bit of footage from her Best Life retreat. Grug suggests there are about 60 people in this clip. Certainly not near 300. Looks like the event was quite a bust. No wonder Meghan didn't want to take a round. Yeah, I guess she saw the crowd. And it was 2 minutes in and she already wanted to leave. These are some shots of the crowds having a good time. Meghan had already left. But that's it. That was... How many people are in there? Some tables have only 3 people at them and some have 4. This was a massive, massive fail.
Do that just to act like they're important, like they're the president or something. They're nobody!
Well, I mean, the good thing is the security line wouldn't have taken long because it's probably like
47 people, yeah.
Slipping into a Range Rover, headed to a rugby match with Harry. 2 hours. That's it. She stayed just 2 hours at a weekend retreat. People paid thousands to attend. And during that short time, No photos allowed, no filming at all. Security checking bags at the door. It was airport level strict. And if you wanted a group photo with Meghan, that would cost you an extra $500 on top of the $3,000 you already paid.
Their problem. They have a huge problem that they are basically not drawing any crowds. They are not pulling any people for their events. They are overpricing their events.
Markle spends 2 hours with these women. Oh, there's the Moe ready to go. 2 hours. And bear in mind, they paid 3,200 Australian dollars for a chance to spend time with her. 2 hours.
Now really think about that for a second. You've dropped $3,000, booked a flight to Sydney, checked into a fancy hotel, picked out your outfit, built up all that excitement, and then the person you came to see walks in, sits down, and spends about 90 minutes talking about how difficult her life has been. Then, right there in front of you, after you've handed over $3,000, she says,
Meghan Con, or what were they calling it? Meg Stock, where people had to go.
The Ultimate Girls Weekend.
But she was there for, what, 2 hours, I think?
Not even. She was late, by the way.
Of course.
Lots of security. Security at table 1 and table 8 were pretty much security.
Because Prince Harry and Meghan are said to have made a whopping $10 million from this trip, would you believe? According to expert Ted Jenkin, this is extraordinary, Meghan and Harry could make more money from audience, aggregation, premium access, brand leverage. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex could earn $2 million from speaking engagements and appearances, $3.5 million from sponsorships and brand deals, and $4.5 million from media and content value.
I've spent my whole life investing in women. Can I finally invest in me and men? And just like that, she's gone. Gone before the main course even hits the table. She literally leaves to go watch rugby. And afterward, the organisers step in trying to smooth it over, saying, "Oh, this was always the plan. Meghan was only ever scheduled for the Q&A. She had a great time." Right. Sure. Try telling that to the women sitting at those untouched tables in the back.
And then Markle spoke for 1 hour, answering Gemma's questions. And it was all, I'm a victim, poor me, oh my God, I'm taking $3,000 from each of you, I'm a victim, the most trolled person. Harry gave the same speech, basically. I'm a victim, life's so hard.
And at the event, Meghan told the women, quote, "I've spent all of my life investing in women. Can I finally invest in me?" What investments is she talking about? The Netflix series? Because that failed. The was it a polo documentary? I think it was. There was a Girl Scouts one, I think, too. Then there was that Christmas special and the podcast, all of which have been failed ventures. I mean, everything that these two have touched have been a disaster.
Tell that to the people now asking for refunds, because out of 300 available seats, only 80 tickets were sold, and a big chunk of those went to journalists. That leaves just 47 actual paying guests showing up. And the reaction? One Australian newspaper nailed it with a headline that says it all. The crowd went mild. Not loud, not wild, mild. That wasn't a joke. That was a real headline written by a professional journalist. And honestly, it might be one of the sharpest lines written all year. But here's where it gets even more uncomfortable. The retreat wasn't even the worst part of the trip.
Crowds for them at the Sydney Opera House. And if you look closely, they clearly expected crowds because you could see there the barricades were up. There were like fences up. Waiting in anticipation, and there was nobody.
Headline, I don't know which paper it was, one of the big Australia papers, headline was, "And the crowd went mild." The Sydney paper had a headline about the gruesome twosome turn Australia into their own ATM.
Yeah.
Inside a hotel, you can hide empty seats, shift camera angles, keep things looking polished. Out on the streets of Sydney, there's no hiding anything. Harry and Meghan showed up expecting what exactly? A repeat of 2018, when massive crowds lined the sidewalks and filled every corner just to catch a glimpse. Back when people were actually excited to see them, when the energy was real and crowds showed up without being asked. That's what was expected. But what showed up this time?
These are the worst takes. There's the worst one, the worst offenders. You see the barriers, you see all the empty space, you see the 30 or 40 people there in the background, that's it. And you see Harry and Meghan walk in, and who is around them There's just nobody.
And it's a far cry from the tens of thousands who lined up and camped out, as you can see there, 8 years ago when they last came. I mean, look at the crowds then, the signs, the Aussie flags. They loved them. They love them. Oh, and that was the same trip, by the way, that they called the catalyst for leaving the royal family. Well, look at that. Compare the pair. Oh, and that was also the same trip, by the way, where Meghan reportedly said, oh, gee, I can't believe I'm not being paid for this. Seriously.
Crowd control without the crowd. Barriers lined both sides of the street. Clean, brand new, perfectly set up like they were preparing for a massive turnout. Except no one came. Those barriers stretched down the road for nothing, while maybe 50 people casually walked past, most of them heading somewhere else entirely. And you know those barriers didn't just appear. Someone signed off on that plan. Someone sat in a meeting and confidently said, yes, we'll need full crowd control here. And then reality hit hard. The camera crews tried to work magic though. Tight shots, low angles, filming the same guy from behind again and again. It meant something.
They had these barriers, like they were expecting, I don't know, hundreds of people to flood the streets of Sydney and be excited about, oh, you know, there's going to be the sausages in there. But no, nothing of the sort. No, this is terrible optics. And I mean, Meghan should be really pissed off at this. Look at that. All the shots with the same guy.
Because if you keep the frame tight, you don't have to show the long stretch of empty pavement sitting right behind him. But people caught on fast. They paused the clips, grabbed screenshots, shared everything, and within hours the real story was out. Even the Opera House moment people pointed to as proof. That crowd wasn't there for Harry and Meghan. Those were parents lining up with their kids for free school holiday events. They were there for a puppet show. And honestly, at that point, who could blame them? Now this next part shifts the tone because it's not funny and it didn't sit right with a lot of people watching it unfold.
And you have this extreme, framed camera angles of how many people we're talking about here. Like 40 people as well. And they're really trying to make this seem in some shots that people were caring about them when they actually didn't. Perfect blueprint to completely fade into obscurity because this is what our eyes are seeing. You cannot make this up. This is not AI. This is the harsh reality.
These phonies could go up and feign like they care so much about these kids. What?
Well, she's done
BS?
that. She's done that multiple times. I mean, the first big time was Uvalde, right? When all those kids were killed down in Texas, and she showed up with a camera crew to, I guess, stare at.
To give away donuts or something. It was like, but they film it, of course. If they didn't film it, it doesn't count, and they wouldn't do it.
At the Royal Children's Hospital in Melbourne, the visit was presented as a heartfelt tribute to Princess Diana's legacy, connecting with children going through serious illness. And there was a moment that sounded genuinely kind. A 12-year-old girl named Novi said Harry told her to stay brave, and it lifted her spirits. That part matters. But then reports started coming out that raised real concern. Claims that seriously ill children, including those going through intensive treatment, were brought into a common area to be present during the visit, reportedly without masks.
Except when you go to Children's Hospital,
and you're talking to props.
Yeah, you're using these children with cancer who've lost their hair as props so you can sell your latest outfit. That's disgusting. Mm-hmm. I'm disgusted with the hospital. Just the way the hospital lined them up in the atrium. Because remember, let's make this quick.
Yeah.
It should be in there quick. So probably her people were pushing them no, they can't go from room to room to room. That takes too long. Get these fucking sick kids and get them together in the atrium so they only have to walk in and they can walk in and walk out. And get the sickest fucking kids you've got in here. I want some bald kids.
And have them
if not, shave their heads.
That detail is what left many parents, healthcare workers and observers questioning how the situation was handled. Surrounded by people who had just flown in from overseas and spent days shaking hands all across the country, doctors will tell you straight, when a child is going through chemotherapy, even a minor infection isn't just uncomfortable, it can turn serious fast. These aren't kids dealing with a simple cold. These are children in critical conditions fighting through intense treatment. And yet, Someone thought it made sense to bring them into a busy public space during a high-profile visit. And then, this is the part that really got people talking.
Oh, and Meghan was on this fake tour as well, wearing designer clothes, which she put on a platform. It's an AI platform, which she's an investor in, so that people can buy what she was wearing. And she wore this $1,200 dress. This was to a visit at a hospital in Melbourne. And then she later wore that same dress to a homelessness shelter for women and popped it up on her platform, $1,200 dress. And no doubt getting kickbacks from that. She's literally profiting off events which should have been low-key engagements for her to go out and do some charity work.
Within minutes of leaving that hospital, the outfit Meghan was wearing reportedly appeared online for purchase on her fashion website. That sequence didn't go unnoticed. One commentator summed up the frustration, saying, if they didn't film it, it doesn't count. And if they did film it, make sure the checkout button is ready. That line spread quickly because it captured how the situation felt to many watching. The reaction across Australia was strong. Formal complaints were reportedly submitted, and people started calling for answers because moments like that make people stop and question what they're really seeing. Then came Bondi Beach. Harry and Meghan visited to meet survivors and first responders connected to the December 2025 attack during a Hanukkah event, an incident that deeply affected the community and left lasting grief.
Like $50,000 worth of jewelry at this homeless shelter for women.
Where can I buy it?
I can show you on one off. No, this is psychotic. I mean, this is crazy. I can't believe this is the schemingest, weaseliest move I've ever seen her make.
See that? She did it again this week, which she, they had that Bondi terror attack. The
she went to Bondi Beach. They put that outfit up. This is where 15 people were murdered on Hanukkah.
I mean, you don't want the look.
You
don't want the look of somebody honoring.
I know.
What is that?
Did anyone order a hero?
Showing up to acknowledge something like that matters. But again, attention shifted when people noticed that the outfit worn at the memorial site was also promoted online shortly after. People pay attention to timing. And when moments feel mixed with promotion, it leaves an impression that sticks. But the moment that really exploded online wasn't about clothing at all. It was about a woman on the sand, as Harry, Meghan and their large group moved along Bondi Beach, which, by the way, looked pretty quiet that day. There was a woman lying on the sand, sunbathing, just minding her own business and enjoying a public space.
Can't believe she did that. And I can't believe they gathered first responders and survivors for Meghan Markle and Harry to go there and sell her outfits. Mm-hmm. That is so gross.
Yeah.
What is wrong? First of all, what's wrong with her?
Look at how unbothered Aussies are by these two. Oh, no one's moving. Look. Nothing. I mean, no one is moving. That woman on the sand, please somebody find her and give her a medal. That is quintessentially Aussie. We love the sunshine. We love the beach. We ain't moving for nobody, especially these two non-royals. And, you know, they're here to make money.
And the big question people started asking was simple. Did the entourage just walk around her? There was open beach in every direction, hundreds of meters of it. Plenty of space to walk around without coming close to anyone. But instead, they walked straight past her, right around her feet, near her head, like she wasn't even there. And this woman, honestly iconic, didn't move at all. Didn't flinch, didn't look up, didn't react. Not even a glance. She just stayed exactly where she was, completely unbothered. She ended up becoming the accidental symbol of the whole trip. Because in that one moment, she reflected what a lot of people felt all week. No reaction, no interest, just carrying on. And then...
And this lady couldn't give a single F about Meghan and Harry. 0 F's given. Not one F given. No, that was brutal. All of this. Meghan was trying to do the Catherine shot. What is the Catherine shot? As you know, Catherine with children. But children, you know that they gravitate towards Catherine. And Meghan wants to do the same.
There was the little girl with the drawing. This clip blew up. Millions of views in under 24 hours. You watch it once, and it clicks immediately why people couldn't stop sharing it. Meghan is on the beach, moving through the moment, making appearances, being seen. Nearby, there's a young girl sitting quietly, focused on her sketchbook. Meghan leans in, and the girl looks up. Then, calmly and without hesitation, she pulls the sketchbook back, closes it, and holds it close to her chest, out of reach. No noise, no scene, no overreaction. Just a quiet, clear choice.
Girl, put the book away from Meghan. No, you're not gonna touch my book. You're not gonna touch my drawings. Get away, you witch. Yeah, I'm not saying that the girl said that, of course. I'm just making things up. Meghan, you're not made for this. I'm telling you, not as a friend. You know that I'm not your friend, but I'm telling you, as an advisor, as PR, do not get your videos around children. This is going to happen. Maybe the girl was so sweet, but at the same time, she didn't like the bad juju of the Duchess of Sausages.
A small moment, but it said a lot to the people watching, like, no, this is mine. The reaction online was intense. Comments everywhere, people reading into it, analysing every second. Some said, children know. They always know. Others saw it as something simple and personal. And sure, maybe the girl just didn't want to share her drawing. That's completely fair. But the fact that millions of people watched that clip and felt something bigger behind it, that's what made it stand out. When a moment like that turns into a talking point across the internet, it says something about how the public is viewing things right now. Now here's a number that really puts everything side by side.
For 10 years, I've been bullied and attacked, and I was the most trolled person in the entire world. Man or woman. I'm still here.
She claimed that she was the most trolled person in the world, says the woman who's made a career out of trolling the royal family, who reportedly claimed the monarchy was racist and who allegedly bullied her own staff. And let's not forget, Harry is also being sued for defamation by the charity he co-founded following allegations of bullying there too. Her and Harry are the ultimate victims. They will screw anyone over to make money. Us. This guy has been handed everything and more in his life. He has lived a very, very privileged life with no money issues. And yet he talks about it like he's lived the hardest life of anyone. And let's not forget, Prince William lost his mother too, and he hasn't gone around and demanded sympathy left, right and centre.
Same weekend, same country, around the same time, Pamela Anderson held a public event. About 2,000 people showed up. Tickets, around $85. Now compare that. Pamela Anderson, $85 tickets, 2,000 attendees. Meghan Markle, $3,000 tickets, 47 people. That's roughly a 40-to-1 difference in turnout at less than 3% of the price. Those numbers speak loudly all on their own. I'll just leave that there for a second. Let it sit. Because what this trip really showed goes way beyond empty seats, leaked photos, or that moment on the beach. For years now, Harry and Meghan seem to have been working off one big misunderstanding. That attention means support. That headlines mean loyalty. That controversy keeps everything alive.
I couldn't get her therapy, remember?
Yeah.
Because they didn't have an HR department?
Exactly, yeah.
So there was no way to get a therapist.
Nope.
There was no... He knows Elton John, who will buy his carbon... he will erase his carbon footprint, but Elton John won't help him find a therapist.
I mean, at that time, he also knew the king or the queen at that time.
The firm denied it.
So apparently they could only find one therapist, and Harry's like, I need it more than you. So, yeah.
Sorority girl, actress, influencer, victim.
But that's not how it works. People tune in the way they slow down to look at something shocking, curious, maybe even confused. Not always, because they feel connected. And that kind of attention, it doesn't last forever. In Australia this week, it looked like that energy had faded. They stepped away from royal life saying they wanted privacy and independence. Yet there were crowd control setups on quiet streets. They spoke about wanting a more normal path. Yet events came with high price tags for short appearances. They've also spoken about supporting important causes.
She's so clueless.
No, she does, because she's, the big takeaway is that she's
the most trolled person in the world.
Which, no, then stop.
She also trolled her husband's family.
Yeah, and her
6
dad.
episode series for millions and millions of dollars.
In my opinion, should be kept well away
from the children and from William and Catherine. He has proved not to just betray his brother, to hurt his brother. To me, I think he's proved that he's almost unstable with his hatred.
But when timing around public moments and promotions overlaps, people notice and they start asking questions. At some point, when actions and messaging don't line up cleanly, it becomes harder for people to overlook. And this time, nothing seemed to slip past unnoticed. Meanwhile, back in the UK, a completely different conversation has been building, one that carries a lot more weight than anything tied to a single event. People close to royal circles, speaking publicly and on record, have described the relationship between Prince William and Prince Harry as deeply strained. Not just distant, not temporary, seriously fractured.
Prince William is done with him. He is done with him. I don't think there's any coming back. When you think about how Prince William has always been, he's always had a tight circle of friends, and it's always been a known thing with Prince William. If you betray him, you're out. That's it. It's done.
Is William at the stage now where you could say that he genuinely, and I don't know whether this is too strong a word, but hates his brother?
I don't think it's too strong a word.
Some reports even use strong language, suggesting there's no clear path to reconciliation right now, and discussions have started to surface about future royal events, major ones, where Harry's role or presence is now being openly questioned. If that direction holds, it could mean missing out on historic family moments that once would have been unthinkable. That shift says a lot about where things stand today. Think about that for a second.
Prince William has absolutely no intention of his younger brother being at that event. And that would be a seismic moment, Tash, because that would be saying, it's done, it's over, forever. Restraining order will be absolutely necessary. His security and his police protection will be told, that man stays away from my family and my children.
He's proved that he's almost unstable with his hatred and this blame. He seems to have focused. Prince William is the cause of everything. And it's turned into something that I wouldn't blame Prince William if when his father's gone, he actually gets a full restraining order against Harry.
Two brothers who once walked side by side behind their mother's coffin, who stood together again at their grandmother's funeral. And now there are reports suggesting things have become so strained that distance between their families is being seriously discussed. That's no longer just a disagreement. That's something deeper, something that doesn't fade quickly. And then you look back at everything else, after the Netflix deals, after the Oprah interview, after the book, the documentaries, years of constant headlines and global attention. After all of that, 47 people.
I'm going to zoom in because Meghan blinking is out of control, and even with the low quality of the video, you can see it for yourself. Here it goes. Look at Meghan blinking, the crazy blinking. She is really upset.
47 people in a half-empty hotel ballroom, glasses untouched at the back tables, a woman on the beach who didn't even look up, a little girl who quietly held onto her drawing, and a brother who, according to reports, may have reached his limit. Australia didn't need protests, loud backlash, or dramatic scenes. There were no banners, no shouting crowds, no big public pushback. They just didn't show up. And that silence, that calm, uninterested, unimpressed silence, hit harder than anything else.
William will not have Harry at the coronation. And actually, finally, an acknowledgement, and I know you feel a bit queasy about this, Tash, and I do understand that there is a big debate about it, but finally, an acknowledgement from the mainstream media too, that at some point we are going to have to deal with this because Charles's health is really not good.
Because criticism can be debated, headlines can be spun, negative press can be brushed off.
That's why we're gonna have the restraining order. We don't want you and your constant dramas and your constant messy revenge moves anywhere near our British royal family.
But an empty room, that speaks for itself every single time. If this video hit different for you, don't just scroll past. Hit like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to see this. And drop a comment below. What moment from this Australia trip stood out the most to you? I'm reading through all of them.